I found a game-changer method to make the ultimate pulled pork. Easy and super fast.
A big thanks to Lotus Grills for sponsoring this episode.
One of my favorite things to barbecue is pulled pork. And pulled pork requires a long cook. I'm talking about 21 hours of smoking to create that perfect bark on a piece of pork. Oh man. There's almost nothing better than that. But I've also found a way to make it go really fast, make it super juicy and super tender. But there's more to it. I can also show you a way with this method so you can make this ahead of time, store it for a long time, and then whenever you feel like it, just take out a little bit of pulled pork. I'm giving away too much. It is actually such an easy method that I'm going to use a compact grill to show you how to make pulled pork. And you can literally make this on any grill you like, as long as you got a lid. And to start up the Lotus Grill, I'm going to take out the basket, put in some biogel, light it up, charcoal basket in, some beech briquettes, cherry wood chips, more briquettes, some more cherry wood chips, and then the pizza stone goes on, grill grates on, and the lid on, and then I'm going to dial it up. As you can see, the smoke is coming. But some people wonder about this gap and how that works and if that's a good thing. I can tell you that the most important thing when smoking things is not to seal the smoke in with the meat. You want to have fresh smoke and fresh air coming through. So the heat is going up, the smoke's going up, and it's pushing the hot air and the smoke to the edges and then out of the grill, which basically is perfect because we've got hot, smoky air circulating in this barbecue, twirling around the meat. Freaking delicious. And to show you this hack, I selected a beautiful piece of pork neck. Now this is about half to 1/3 of pork neck, around 1 kilogram. If you're not feeding like a big crowd, this could feed up to 4 people. Depends on who you have for dinner, but technically, always make sure you get a little more. I'm gonna season it first with a little bit of PITMASTERX Texas seasoning. That's gonna make a base layer of flavor. And it's going to help pop the flavors in the end. Because it's a big piece of meat, I'm going to put on 2 layers of flavor, starting with the PITMASTERX Texas barbecue seasoning. And I'm going to follow it up with some more flavors, and it's going to give it a little bit of depth. This is the pork seasoning. This is not only for barbecue, you can also use this in the kitchen. I want a lot of color, and I want to build up a little bit of bark on the outside, so I'm not going to be shy with it. And don't worry, with a big chunk of meat like this, you're going to over season it. Now this is now going to go in my Lotus Grill. I can check the temperature on the top. Here is a thermometer. Place it on top. I'm now just going to let this smoke. The barbecue is going to do all the work for me. I'm just going to keep it at a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius. If I want a little bit more smoke, I'm just going to put in some more wood chips. And that's going to help me smoke this pork neck. And what's really cool is that you don't need a thermometer for this recipe. We're just eyeballing the whole thing and it's going to be perfect in the end no matter what. This is basically fail-safe. That means anyone can do it. It's been about an hour and I've got a beautiful color on my pork neck. Just look at that. That's absolutely gorgeous. Turned nice and brown and it's been smoking. Color means flavor. And I know I've got smoke in this, so I can continue to cook this on the grill. Or, and here comes the game-changing hack. I can take this off the grill and put it in a jar. I want to get this thing in that jar. And this, by the way, is an old mayonnaise jar. I love these jars. If you buy mayonnaise in a jar or honey in a jar, you get these really nice jars that are really super solid and strong. So I'm gonna put this in here and maybe I gotta squeeze a little bit. Oh, look at all those juices, man. I'm just gonna push it in, the whole chunk. I'm gonna put the other part in here. There we go. I'm gonna top this off with 2 tablespoons of ketchup, a tablespoon of apple juice, a teaspoon of Worcester sauce, and a tablespoon of honey. You see where these jars come from? It's gonna be good. That's 1 jar done. Now, of course, you want to adjust the amounts to the amounts of meat that you got in your jar. You can use smaller jars, bigger jars, whatever you like. This is so super easy to do. All right, now I've got the jars. Now what? Let's do it the way grandmas used to do it. Get your grill out, put on a pan with a little bit of boiling water, put the jars in, put the lid on, and then turn it to high, letting the water slowly boil. And see, this is kind of a life hack because now I can say that almost any meat cooks down in 2.5 hours in boiling water. Of course, it depends on the size of the actual meat that you have, but remember, I already smoked the pork, so therefore 2.5 hours is going to be more than enough. Ooh. Exciting times. Oh, still bubbling. Insane. Put this here. You see how the juices are preserved? That is so cool. The little one. I'm just going to set these right here. I think this is the right moment to put in a little disclaimer in this video. You want to make sure you use high quality glass. This stuff has been with me for a long period of time. It's real good stuff. You're going to build up pressure in this jar. Now this has a lid with a rubber that will let some of the hot air escape. So if the pressure becomes too big, it will let it escape. But I don't want these glass jars to blow up on you. So make sure you get a good one. And if you're in doubt, just leave the lid on like a little loose. It's gonna boil, it's gonna work fine. Put it in a little bit of water, just 2 fingers high. Leave the lid open, that will be a good safety measure. And now, you see it's still bubbling. It's still working. It's still doing its thing. I'm gonna leave this one to cool down because I'm gonna eat that for lunch tomorrow. But the cool thing is that I can save this for about up to a week because I boiled it and I put salt in it and I smoked it, which in return put nitrate in it. The bacteria won't grow in this as fast. So therefore you can store this for at least up to a week. And that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna put this in the fridge. This is probably gonna be lunch tomorrow. And you and me, we're gonna take a look at this one. There we go. You see how fast that went? You had the vacuum. What do we wanna see? We wanna see if it pulls. So let's stick a fork in this and start pulling the meat. Look at how easy that goes. It's falling apart. And can we take a look at the red smoke ring we got here? You see that? That is a great smoke ring. And because we kept all the juices in the jar, it's just shredding apart like nothing and becoming the ultimate, most juicy pulled pork you've ever had. Whoa, look at that. That is freaking delicious pulled pork. Dripping juices. I think it's about time that I give this a try. That is some seriously good pulled pork. And just imagine bringing this to work, sticking it in the microwave and eating the best thing ever while your colleagues are just chewing on a dry old sandwich. That's good. I think this is the best way to make pulled pork ever. This is like the way it should be done if you want to do it easy and make it juicy. I just want to know what you think of it. Would you do this? Would you make it like this and then just take it to work instead of like the 24-hour version, which is the ultimate version of pulled pork? This is the easiest version and the juiciest. Let me know.